Now it's time to do some filtering. As you remember, I already added some filters right here, and I've shown you how to do that with the audio effects track by mapping the filter onto the macro, mapping another clean chain so that once the filter is, like as you see, all the way open, it's also bypassed. Yeah, we talked about that in lessons before. So right now, what I want to do is actually automate these filters. So let's see, these filters are on the drums. Let's see what they actually do. So I'm going to close the filter since I don't need to see it. I can hide that chain. Yep, close the filter, hide the chain. I don't need to see those. What I need to see is these macros right here. So I can even hide that, just like that. So all I need to see is the macro knobs. Let's hear what these sound like and where I want to use them in the track. Okay, so I want this one. I want the high pass filter to happen. Let's see where. I want the high pass to happen on these, switch ups right there when it's switching up from one theme to another. So let's say I wanted the automation for this. I'm going to make it just a tiny bit larger like that, open it. And now you see when I touch it, it just appears right there. Now I'm going to make a new automation lane for it, just like that. Now it's right here. It's always going to be there. So what I want is that change to happen right here before it starts to bang again. Let's see, like this. I need it to go down all the way before it starts again. Start here, go all the way up right there. And I'm gonna, of course, set the maximum and minimum for this as I go through it. So let's hear what that sounds like. Okay, so that sounds good by itself. Let's see how does it sound in the context of an entire song. Nice, it really adds to the tension that's created. And let's say right here, I can do that again, right there, to, add to the actual tension and the change up that's going to happen going into the break. So let's see what that sounds like. It's a tiny change, but that's really nice. That really helps. Now I can do maybe the similar thing or the same thing with the bass sounds. I don't have to, but I could. A good thing about it is that now that I have this automated, and let's say I automate that for the second break too. So let's say I want this to happen right here. Again, same thing. I can draw it, or I can just, let's say, take this part like that from the first, crash right there, and then copy it right here. So that was copied. I was pretty close with what I drew before. But let's say if I deleted that and I copy pasted this thing right there, bam. Now I have the same automation. So now that's good, that's done. Now imagine I wanted to do that on other channels where I could actually add effects just like these on those and make new automation for those. Imagine I want the same thing to happen with the bass at the same time when it happens, with the drums. So I want the same effect actually. So aside of, grouping my bass with the drums and doing that, I don't have to. Now that I have this effect already mapped out and already drawn with automation at those points, I can just drag by clicking Control and dragging that onto these bass sounds right here. Now when I let go, it's going to copy that exact same filter, but it's also going to copy all the automation for it. Now if I click it, you can see the automation. I can add it to a new lane, but you can see that I have the automation already done. So whatever I did here, if I want it on another effect, I can just copy paste that exact same effect. It's going to copy paste the effect, all the mappings for it, all the minimum maximum mappings in the macros and the automation for the macros. So everything is just copied over to the bass. Now I have that done too. Let's hear it. That's nice. Now I want the same thing to happen to the sub. I'm gonna copy that to the sub too. See, done. Now, one thing that did not happen is right there, there is no bass to filter out. You might have noticed that, okay? But there is right here. So right there, we do have some bass. We want that to filter out. So we leave it. We can delete this part because we don't have anything there. And if we start putting something there after the fact, once we are maybe trying to rearrange this song, it's going to be weird. There's going to be a filter there and we won't know where from. So I'm just going to delete that part of automation because there's no bass right there. But now we have that happening for everything. Like, let's say right here. See, really nice. Everything filters out, everything thins out, loses all the low frequencies. Now we can do that on practically anything. Single synthesizers, maybe even groups of synthesizers, like right here. You can use filters to induce change and to maybe amplify, that energy transition that you have between different parts of the song. So it makes that energy transition much more efficient. Sounds like it's actually supposed to happen because you're somehow, advertising to the listener that something is going to happen soon. Now, this is a really common technique using high-pass filters or even low-pass filters before the break or during the break to, accentuate that, the drop is coming in. So I would say there's nothing wrong in using filters aplenty, especially in, electronic music, but today it's used in everything. So you can hear these happening in almost any genre of music.